B-side word.
Flash news. Just this is nothing to do with any of what we're talking about. But Usain Bolt scores his first goals for professional.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Goodness.
Hey guys, I'm Emma,
I'm Devin.
and we're from the B-side word. We're hanging with CJ,
Maxie.
and Alexander. And we're just a group of friends from around the world. We share and discuss thoughts on second page news. Come join us.
Professional.
Wait, he's still on the... I thought it was just like a one-time thing.
No,
He's
6
actually on the
weeks.
team.
6-week contract.
Dude,
Oh, brilliant.
He's definitely the fastest person on the team.
That's like the shortest contract in the history of the world.
But can he control the ball?
No, but they can kick it far right. And he can run past everyone. And then try to kick it into the goal.
So does he... have you seen him play?
No.
He's not bad.
No.
If I was his coach, I'd say...
He's not bad, Maxie. Have
Stay
you seen
5
him?
minutes in your half. 5 minutes in your
No,
half.
he's not.
We kick over and run.
That's a good plan.
He's like...
That's what I
he'd be
do.
like... If he was at school, he'd be one of the good players, if you know what I mean.
Really?
He's not like... Yeah, not pro.
Clearly
When you
he's
say
good,
at
'cause
school
he's
he'd be
like
one of the good
you.
players, are you talking about
He'll be
him
faster than
versus
somebody.
school-age kids now?
No, but you know, like...
No. Him versus school
Yes, he's
age
as good as that
kids
14-year-old kid at the school right now.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
That's school level.
Alexander.
All right, let's do Banksy. Come on, Zans, you're one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That went
Okay, so
that went somewhere, didn't it? It's your word.
Banksy.
Craig David.
Banksy, this guy, this con artist. He
This con
This
artist.
con artist. Wow.
he had a piece.
Tell us how you really feel.
He had a piece he made a while back that went up into an auction and was put up, and people were bidding for it, and it got sold for £860,000, which I've no idea what that is in dollars, Australian dollars. So
It'll be
Figure
about
out yourself.
1.4.
Nah, 200.
1.4.
No, 860,000.
£860,000.
It's over a mil for sure.
80,000.
It's
Sorry.
about a mil. Over that.
Yeah, but 1.4.
Mil and a half.
1 point. No, it'll be 1.8.
So
Nah.
So he-
We'll be arguing about this for the next 15 minutes.
All right.
Someone look it up.
All right.
it got the piece got sold, and it's actually quite one of the iconic pieces of the girl holding the red balloon as a heart. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've seen
I've
it.
got that one.
But so as soon as it was sold, people, the video's really funny. Everyone's like looking at the auctioneer, like, oh cool, and then on the wall behind everyone, this piece just starts shredding, like it's going through the bottom of the frame and shredding, and it stops. We're about 2/3 of the way down.
Ernest,
it's just not going.
You
gone
can get
completely
1.4
through.
million for that. Put it away.
Can they see me? Is this
Zans, Alexander, are we frozen?
Yeah.
Oh, because Ernest is holding the Banksy picture right now in front of the camera.
He's been stood there
And he's
with
like,
a
why
Banksy
isn't
picture
anyone
up.
mentioning it?
What have you holding up?
The balloon
Yeah,
girl
you're frozen
picture.
on mine.
Of the girl on the balloon.
Let's
That's
just
quite nice.
edit this in. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Did you really
Sorry.
see it or just making it up? Because for some reason you said it as
No,
a
I
put it
didn't
away.
see it.
What's going on with you guys today? Just making up stuff. Is Banksy even real?
So the picture gets shredded most of the way through, but it's still one piece, like the top of it hasn't been shredded. And it turns out that earlier in that day, Banksy had put a video up on his Instagram of him showing him making the frame with the picture in, and he had made it intentionally for if this piece was ever to be auctioned off, because he doesn't agree with auctions. He thinks it's ridiculous that people pay this much for this art and that. But what you could argue was his intention, we'll never really know. But now it's kind of gone up in value because it's that piece. Like, it's got this story attached to it.
But isn't it
This
destroyed?
media enrolled type story. So he didn't want to shred it all the way through, or the belief is he didn't want to shred it all the way through, because then they would have been able to sell pieces,
Each piece.
like multiple.
Every week or
So
something.
so it didn't go all the way through, so it's still one piece, but now the consequence is it probably is going to, if ever auctioned again, go for way more value, or its value currently is a lot more.
No. Who owned the photograph?
Banksy.
So he owned his own
was a-
photograph and he shredded it.
No, he wouldn't have owned it when it went into the auction.
So he just basically
Oh,
damage someone's property. Don't you get arrested for
Well,
that?
it's his art.
No,
sense.
but it's still sold. It belongs to someone else.
No. So he would have donated this
So
to
if
a
I sold
museum, I
someone
think.
something, I
Yeah,
go break
there
it.
you go. Maxie knows.
He probably
I think
donated it
it's-
to.
He normally just, sometimes you'll just walk in, this is Banksy all over, right? Sometimes you'll walk into a museum and just put a piece of art up and then you'll walk out and no one will realise until, oh, Banksy's,
No way.
Banksy struck again. Yeah, he's done that before. He's done lot, and he does this thing like, there was a month he did a piece of graffiti every day in New York and then people were trying to catch him doing it and they couldn't. And then this is one of the cases, I'm not sure exactly how it got into the hands of the museum, but my assumption would be he gave it, like, he just somehow dropped it off to them without them. They're like, oh, yes, like, we've been blessed with Banksy's artwork. They managed to sell it for £800,000 or 1.5
It's
Australian dollars.
1.57.
I thought
Aussie dollars.
there
What
you
is what makes Banksy's art unique?
it's like self-destructs, mate.
Well, he does loads of things. He's
Like,
like,
he presses a button
he's like
and goes, dun, dun, dun,
anti-authority
dun,
kind of style, and he's like an unknown man from, we think, Bristol.
Yeah, I think that's it's the
Arrived on
mystery.
the scene like 1993 time, and then he's just been like, he started off as like just freehand graffiti and mainly in England. And then when he started getting picked up, he then used stencils so we can sort of take the stencil to do like graffiti really quick and then disappear.
Yeah.
And then he just does really bold art, like
Politically charged artworks and stuff.
So
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
what's
Just like-
behind the little girl and the love heart? What's
That's
the
Balloon
story?
Girl.
Yeah, but okay.
I don't know the story.
He might have a child which represents the girl, and love how it represents how much the love for his child.
But
I have this one question though.
Mhm.
If a man by accident can find his wife cheating on him on Google Maps, how can no one know who Banksy is?
because there's millions of people
Because
cheating
the
on their
satellites aren't looking
wives
for him,
and the husbands, and there's only one Banksy.
and he's the cheating wife.
Yeah, but how many people are looking for the cheating husband and wife? How many people are looking for Banksy?
What?
Yeah, but as a coincidence, you're more likely to come across a cheating wife, right, than you are to come
What,
across...
your own cheating wife?
Well, no, that's but how many? There's like only one Banksy and lots of people, but there's lots of people and lots of cheating people. So there's more chance that they collide than there is one. That makes
Got
sense.
you.
Oh, Banksy called this shredded piece. He gave it a new name. It's called "Love Is in the Bin."
Love is
Love
in
is-
the bin.
I would have called it the blender.
But like, even that, like, obviously no one's going to be upset that it happened because to whoever
Did you see
bought
their
it, they're
faces
like,
in the video?
Yes.
Their faces in the video was pure horror, shock horror.
okay. So I saw the video, but I didn't know what was going on. I just saw the video and I thought, oh, prank! Someone's pranking the Banksy. Like someone's taking the original out and put a fakey in. But now that I know that it's real, changes everything. I thought I'd just put that in there.
How so, Dev? How so?
That was a conversation that went nowhere fast.
I thought it was one of those because it trended on Twitter. It was number 1 or 2 on Twitter, and I saw it and I went, "Oh, it's another prank."
Yeah, when I saw it, I thought it was a prank as well.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh well, don't go.
But
Don't
I
look
wasn't
at
gonna
me.
say that out loud.
Don't look at me and say.
I was never going to admit it publicly, like you just did. I was just going to shut up about it.
So, just in general, looking at obviously this piece sold for 860,000 whatnot. Like, do you understand when it comes to art and the value put behind art and all that kind of stuff?
Oh
Like,
no.
personally,
idea.
do you guys
No, idea.
buy
No.
into that?
Did you guys see
I've
the
heard the story
Kardashian
of-
episode where Khloe pretended to be Khloe? Like
Well, hold on.
Kris Jenner loves art. Well, she was getting into art, right? And she kept saying, "Oh, you don't know that artist? Oh my gosh!" So Khloe was sick of it, and she decides to do some painting herself. And then they literally did this elaborate plan and got this fake actor to act as though he was the artist. And it was her doing it the whole time. And Chris was like, "Oh my God, this art." And she was telling all her friends, "This is the up and coming artist." So like, it's really all about just perception and what people are saying, word of mouth,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fitting,
But
fitting
how
in,
do they get the value to start with?
getting the people.
It's rarity.
It's like
as
our
well.
podcast.
Yeah, I think it's rarity, right?
Yeah, I think there's part of that. But
Well-
have you heard the story about where, like, how art was used back in the day, and probably still used for like crime? So if you have a load of illegal money, you can say I bought a piece of paper for like £2 million,
It was used for money
but
laundering.
actually, actually you spent it on something like you've gone somewhere else. You know?
Yeah,
It's a way
Yeah.
to justify
Right.
spending money illegally by saying, actually, no, we bought this amazing piece of art, which I
Yeah.
just drew in the garage.
It was money laundering.
Oh, right.
Like they'll
Can
get
I
an
tell you a
artist
really
to
funny
draw
example
paintings,
of money
buy
laundering?
it back for $1 million,
A
and then sell
conspiracy
it.
of money laundering.
And then they'll get them cycle their money from clean
Okay.
to, from bad to clean.
All right.
Mm.
There's a funny conspiracy of money laundering in America. When you're in America, and I noticed this myself, is there's mattress stores everywhere, like all over the place. And obviously, no one's like. Sometimes you can go somewhere and there'll be on the corner, on all four corners, there'll be a mattress store, same company. And it's always like, why are there so many? Obviously, not that many people are going out and buying mattresses, and it's believed to be a money laundering ring.
I've
mattress
heard this
stores.
somewhere.
But wouldn't you just use a bar?
Use a what?
Like a bar where you drink, alcohol place. Because how do
Yeah, but no
buy
one
a bar?
goes into money. No, mattress stores are always empty. Like, there's no one ever going in them.
But a bar's always full.
So-
you can always say, okay, I sold.
So
20,000
it's a good way to
instead of
spread out
10.
your money. If you own multiple of these mattress stores, it's a good way to spread out the money into different locations.
But you have to
so
show
it's not
kind
all
of,
in one place.
you'd have to show some receipts of sales and purchases, wouldn't you?
To who? Who's coming in checking?
The IRA
IRS.
or whoever they are.
Yeah, but that's what in the same way if you money launder for anything, you can always show those things. But if you have it all in one location, now you've got say millions coming through a mattress store. People are like, what the? But if you have like a few 100,000 coming through a mattress store, people aren't like mattresses aren't cheap. So I guess like why not? Like it's more believable than other businesses. But then
bars, they do it in bars as well. It's not.
Yeah.
I think the funny thing about the mattress is why choose mattresses, but they definitely do it in bars. I think sunbeds is a really good one because anything where it's like if you don't, it's hard to measure what you're selling. Like in a sun salon, it's hard to say how much sun you've given out. Do you know
They're
what I mean?
banned
So they can be
here.
like,
They're
oh.
illegal here.
Yeah,
we
they're
don't
illegal
have
now.
those.
Yeah, because I think people are using.
Oh, really?
5% like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, there may be like a barber's, for instance. A barber can say,
Right.
"I charge."
Hairdressers,
All
Whatever
right,
they
so
want,
I
but,
was
uh,
about to just say that in our area, there's on one street there's 7 barbershops on one street, right? And I go, what?
and they're all driving Maseratis.
They're all the same price as well.
All
They're
the same
$10
price, yeah.
haircuts.
At one point,
Really?
at one point, the other barber undercut it by like $1. So it was like, there was one was doing it for 11. They're like, we can do it for 10.
It's called Barber Street.
I wonder
they're
if
always
if
busy.
we went out
yeah.
into our like local towns or whatever. I wonder how much we would notice like businesses that just don't make sense. The fact there's so many near each other.
Well,
Sometimes they
this is
strategically
this might be
place
annoying.
same businesses next
Yeah,
to
it's
each
actually a good idea to be next to your competitor. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's going to be a tipping point. There's going to be a bell.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
like,
guess having
in Banbury, there's a lot of nail
4
salons
mattresses.
in one little space.
Yeah, like.
other. Oh, nail salons galore here too.
Oh yeah, they're
Oh,
everywhere.
everywhere.
I don't know if you think they're laundering. What's going on there then?
Probably.
Possibly.
Everyone's money laundering. What are we talking about?
How about,
5 finger discount.
how about
If you own a
a
business, you're money
laundry?
laundering. What's-
A laundry.
I'll tell you a
That was
story.
the original money laundering place.
Really?
Yeah.
The laundry.
Laundromat.
Yeah.
The laundromat was the
mob
laundry.
bought the laundromats. And
That's
they-
why it's called
laundromat.
money laundering.
Yeah,
Is that why it's called that?
yeah.
No.
Because they used to clean the money through. They were cleaning
Through
the money
actual
through-
laundromat.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if
Laundry.
Chris is being
You can
sarcastic.
never, like,
Max-
Actually,
you
you,
can
know
never
what?
really know
That
how
might be an
many
urban
people
myth.
come in.
I don't know. That's true.
so you can say
Do
like,
not hold me to
100
that.
people came in
Oh.
when 2 did.
No
And you can use that money
way.
Yeah.
That's
Don't hold me
so
to that. I don't know if
smart.
that's actually true.
Yeah,
Can we look it up if the original money laundering?
Yeah, I
was
think that's
through-
why they call it money laundering because they caught them doing it in a laundromat.
Yeah,
I believe it then.
money laundering have originated with the Italian mafia and such criminals as Al Capone who allegedly purchased laundromats to commingle or mix their illegal profits from prostitution and bootlegged liquor sales, legitimate business sales. So that means essentially money laundering is quite new.
No,
No,
like
It's not.
They've
It's
had
not. Well, it can't be
laundromats for
hundreds
a
of years
while.
old.
The name
No,
might be
why-
new,
why
but
would
the
it be
money laundering
hundreds
itself
of years
isn't
ago?
new.
I
Is
don't
it?
think money was around 100 years ago.
Money was 100 years ago. Money pre-Jesus and stuff.
Yeah,
But
money's.
they might have
in
used
thousands.
shells back then, not coins, for instance.
Currency.
Currency. That's the right term.
Okay,
Well, they use. If you look in the Bible, they have money.
Yeah, money.
that's gold and
money's-
all that. But
Yeah.
currency.
But as soon as we went global and we had to figure out a way to trade stuff which could travel with us, it turned into money. That was the only way we could do it.
No,
like,
wasn't it?
So
because of,
whenever that
Civil
happened,
War?
that's when we needed money.
Didn't like the paper money become originate from the Civil War when they had to pay the workers that couldn't walk around with gold on them, so they paid them like IOUs, which were notes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that what happened? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it actually.
Actually, I have heard something like that.
I think that's how the actual money started, like the physical notes.
All right.
It was like
the
IOU.
notes. That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because you
You
start
can't
to
walk around
realize that
with, like,
there's
100
like more
coins on you.
people than gold,
And fight.
then it doesn't. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'll
did you know
tell-
there's only? I think it's 95% of money in the world is not physical.
Okay, I am still hearing a beeping
Or
sound.
Believe that.
90%. It's
Believe
in
that.
the 90s, I think. I'm going to Google that one as well.
I wonder when it will be completely cashless.
Oh,
In
Sure.
Norway and most of Scandinavia, they're moving towards
Bitcoin.
that now. They really want. They don't like most places don't take money anymore in Norway. Everybody in Norway has an app on their phone which is called Vips, and if I want to pay somebody, I just have their number and I just say the amount, and it goes from my account to theirs. So nobody, even when you lend people money, it's never ever cash. No one has cash on them.
hey Max,
It's like-
let's try it out now.
At
I'll give you
all.
my number.
No, we.
I bet you it doesn't work. On mine.
I bet you it don't work, bro.
We
What,
actually
with
have
your, you don't have the app.
there's a similar
Yeah,
thing in
I'm downloading it
Australia.
now.
There's a similar thing here, but not. It's not like one of those things where everyone sort of uses it yet. Like it's fairly recent.
I just don't like
What was
the
it
fact
called?
that they can check every transaction.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
What happens if you're buying something stupid or like you're buying Emma a gift?
Dark web.
And
You
Emma
don't- yeah, but
consider receipt.
like the Vips, you don't know what I'm buying. They just know I've sent money to someone.
Hmm.
You don't in fact, if you look at your bank statement, you read what it says. A lot
Seriously,
of time it
that's-
just says the name of the store. Like you
Yeah,
don't really know what
yeah.
you've actually bought.
That is going to cost like a lot of marriages because there'll be a lot of cheating husbands that buy something stupid on their card, and the wife goes, "Oh, necklace."
Yeah, but you can have
They'd
two
have a
Vips.
different account.
You can have two Vips.
How can you have two Vips?
You can have like a burner phone and have a Vips on it.
Well, this is my cheating VIP, and this is my normal
That's
VIP.
right. You don't want to get the cheating VIP and the normal VIP mixed up because you.
Oh
get
my
caught.
gosh.
Like, wow, like taking the cheating to a whole different extreme. Eh? But then you get busted in Google,
That's right. That's
We
the only.
so they don't cheat, children.
We smashed time, by the way.
So the last article is Maxie's article.
Oh God. Oh God. This is a 3-hour conversation just waiting to happen.
This,
If
I was
I only
gonna put
knew I
this in,
went
'cause
went to use the bathroom, got a drink, got a cushion.
Sage. That's.
all right. I thought Alex had that title, not me, but I'll take it. Okay, so this is the article that I suggested. I don't know if this is going to fall flat or actually be interesting. For me, I like it. But at the moment, when we talk about a kilogram and you think, what is a kilogram? There is literally a spherical platinum and iridium ball or sphere, obviously, spherical sphere, sitting in Paris. And that is actually what a kilogram is. So even if it puts on a little bit of weight or loses a little bit of weight, that is still 1 kilogram. That is our base measurement for everything else in the world. So every single country has their own version of it, but it's always based on the prototype that's in France. So for example, England will go to France and they will then get like a sort of the leveling device to make sure that their one weighs exactly the same as the other. And then every single scale that you step on or that you measure your food with, at some point down the line would have been measured against like another scale, which was measured against another scale. And eventually it always leads back to the one in Paris. And what the point that scientists are saying now is it's not a stable weight. So technically we're all slightly changing weight all the time because the kilogram in Paris is changing weight all the time.
Tell me about it.
Does that make sense?
Do you know what's funny?
I didn't
I
even
thought
know
he
this.
said a kilogram. I was thinking, what the hell is
Oh.
a kilogram?
Kilogram.
Are they sending kids in packages or something?
It's like a
So
strippogram.
all that.
That's a gram I don't want to receive. Be a bit weird. Open up, oh, it's a kid. Don't really want it.
Okay, so what's happening now?
So that basically every other they're called SI units, which are like the base units for all of science that we can all agree on. Every other one is based on something which is like a fundamental law of physics, but this is the only one which doesn't do that. So they're trying to figure out a way to link it to something which never ever changes. So I mean, this is where it gets a bit like technical, but there's a few ways they're proposing to do it. One of them is like using like that weight of an atom, which should always be the weight of like an atom or a proton, which is always the same, and then figuring out what that is, and then using that as our base weight, for instance.
That's crazy.
But they're trying to link it to science instead of linking it to like something which is a physical object which can change. So that's where we're at, which is very interesting, right?
But they're taking a vote in November, aren't they? Which is coming up.
Yeah, of how to do it.
Was someone not happy with their weight?
Me.
Is that why we're changing the?
Well, apparently the reason where it becomes like really important is when like you're measuring stuff like medicine, where like when they're really small quantities, like a change in the kilogram can make quite a big difference on that level.
Yeah.
So if you give someone like an extra milligram of certain substance, then it can be really dangerous.
Right.
Yeah, that's so
right,
true.
Yeah, there you go.
I read that
So
it was
it's,
that they even use it in just everyday things that you don't even realize, like for the iPhones and stuff. So I've lost the article, but nano somethings and some things like that.
Killing it.
But this is like what I
kid.
think is quite interesting, right? Is, do you know, like for example, the meter before was, they figured it out, like historically it was always the distance around the globe divided by 10 million. And then they decided that was a meter, and that was always the case. But the problem is the world doesn't stay the same size the whole time. So then they turned that into how far light travels in one, like 300 millionth of a second. That's now technically a meter.
What?
And then things like time is an easy one, like seconds, was the day is 24 hours long, so how long it takes the Earth to spin, divide that by 24 to get an hour, divide that by 60 to get a minute, divide that by 60 to get a second, and second was our unit we used. Some of the more like interesting or sort of funnier ones was, well, not funny, but back in the day, like when you measured length, the length of the king's finger was considered an inch.
What?
And the length of the king's
No.
the length of the king's
It's
Foot-
that part
the length
of
of his
your,
thumb, sorry.
It's that,
The length of his thumb. There.
it's not. It's that part. Yeah.
that part.
Because if you do it now, it's close to an inch on
You
most.
double
Yeah,
jointed.
that's so
Obviously, there'll be
true.
variants, but it's close to an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then the
that's
foot
true.
was, the length of your foot was how long a foot was. So obviously
Ah.
that varies a lot as well. And then a yard, for instance, was how long your stride was, roughly. And then a mile was like 10,000 strides. Or something like that. Or
God.
1,000 strides, I don't know. But it was
I
all
always
What are they
based on
going to
like
call the
humans.
new metric system?
I always find the idea of measurements like fascinating because, as you're saying, like it has to be something like the kilogram. It has to be something that is measurable. It has to be something we can all agree upon. But at the same time, like it's such an arbitrary number that we've just decided to put a number to. Like when you were talking about like the distance of a meter, like deciding, all right, well, if we measure the whole circumference of the Earth and then we divide it by, like, I feel like that's such a crazy way to decide how long a meter is,
Yeah.
or
True.
or
I guess-
how far how far light travels in this much time. That's gonna, like, why? Like, where did you come up with this? I
Well,
just
the
find that
reason-
fascinating.
The reasoning in scientists is what is something which never, ever, ever changes. And back in the day, they thought it was the Earth. But they couldn't say your arm is always the same length, and they couldn't say that tree is always the same length. The only thing they could think, which was always the same, was the Earth. And then they disputed that. So then they then changed it and
Went
said
and
light in a
changed it.
vacuum constantly goes at the same speed, so we can use that as a fixed reference point.
No, I'm not. I understand that. I'm talking about from
Oh.
the aspect of like how they've decided a meter is obviously what we know as a meter, but why wasn't 50 centimeters a meter? Like, why did they just? It's such an arbitrary decision
got
to
you,
make
got you.
that a meter.
Yeah.
This
I know for sure.
new metric system or measuring system, it says that this will finally realize scientists' 150-year dream. Like, they've been wanting to change this for 150 years.
Yeah.
And base it entirely on unchanging fundamental properties of nature.
So is this what
That's a long
scientists
time.
dream about? Changing the metric system.
That,
Yeah.
yes.
That is some
Essentially,
sad
how-
dreams.
And finally, the three countries that don't take part in the metric system or the SI international system, which is,
The US.
Burma and Liberia, will have to, won't they?
Nah.
No,
They won't have to.
because
No.
it's just a conversion. Like you just say,
No.
So what's the point? I thought this was like a
I mean,
new international like standard. Everyone's gonna use it.
Nah.
yeah, but the thing is, the American system still relies on the SI units
Yeah.
because they're the fundamental. So it's like the same way if pound was the fundamental, you'll still use your Australian dollars, but it will be against the pound. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you would have that number would stay fixed.
It's just
It would
ratio.
say, yeah, the ratio would always be fixed. So a yard is always, I don't know, like 1.1 times smaller than a meter or something. Like it'll always be the same number. So it'll
I
still be
get
based
ya.
on the SI units, but they'll have their own annoying way of measuring it.
As
But there
much
was
as
a
I
case.
think, oh, go on.
There was a case where it was like the Americans working with the Russians, I think, and it was like a space mission, and they crashed like their drone, whatever it was called, the spaceship. They crashed it into like the planet. I'm not sure which planet it was. It might have been Mars, just because they used the wrong units. Like one used one units and one used the other. So they were using speed in like kilometers per hour, maybe, and then they was using distance in like miles, and then they just got it wrong. So it just slammed into the face of the
Oh
and
my
cost millions and
gosh.
millions of
Did you
dollars.
see that one
or whatever
yesterday
the
where
Russian
they sent up a couple of astronauts and the booster didn't deploy? Something happened and they came pummeling down to Earth, but they both survived.
That's good to hear.
I think
It is good to hear.
I always joke on the US for being weird with their measurements, not using metric. But when I think back to it, we're the fun. UK is the weirdest one because we haven't decided what we use. Because like we're metric, but we have miles.
We
Things like
can't.
that.
With America's bitch too much. We can't leave them.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when we're at work.
What do you mean?
we
Does
use,
everyone else have kilograms? I mean, kilometers.
We have
Well, yeah,
kilometers.
kilometers are
No, but-
metric. Miles are not metric; they're imperial. But we're a metric country that uses imperial measurements randomly.
No.
Yeah, so we
didn't
use
think
still
about that.
imperial like it's weird. So like if I go to the first time someone told me to get a 3/8 inch nut or quarter inch, right? And I'm like, a what? And then they like when I started to pick it up and you get used to the language and stuff. And now the apprentices now, because we have 10 mil and 12 mil and 16 mil nuts and bolts and stuff, but we also got to get rid of the old stuff, right? So they're like, what is that close to?
Like if you say go get the quarter inch whatever, they're like, well, how many mils is that?
How much is that?
Oh.
So it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
I think typically the imperial system is easier to understand because that system was based on like almost our observations of what we do, if you know what I mean. So like an inch is like, you can feel an inch, you can see an inch. When you think of a millimeter, you're like, a millimeter is tiny. Like, how big's a millimeter? You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Because they use it, obviously they use different ways to get there. But most of the imperial stuff, like, if you weigh like
what's an ounce? How do they
14
say
stone.
an ounce? Like that ounces get me every time in
Oh,
recipe
yeah, 'cause
books.
it started with a pound, and then they turned it into ounces, right?
Yeah.
I guess that would have come from
16 ounces is a pound.
16 ounces a pound. So it just like use numbers
Isn't there
like
spoons?
in England. I like England because
That's,
when I pay for
teaspoon.
stuff, it's like
Oh.
£5 or £10.
Don't cook very
But in Norway, if I
Oh,
pay for
the
stuff,
cup.
it's like 500 kroners, and it's harder for me to get my head around. Like, oh, you know, I think
I think imperial is easy to understand on individual scales, but I think it gets
Yeah.
more complicated when you're converting to their own scales. Like, for example, inches
Yeah,
into
no.
feet is 12.
Yeah.
Why?
yeah,
Feet into yard is 3. Yard into a mile is like 1,600 or
Yeah,
whatever it is. Something stupid. Like, that's when
Yeah.
it gets really complicated. Whereas millimeter into centimeter 10, centimeter to meter 100.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Because
really easy to
they
understand.
chose them separately, right? They wanted to say, how do we measure small things? Use your thumb. How do you
Yeah.
measure like a little bit bigger? Use your feet. How do you measure like bigger than that? Use your step. How do you measure
Yeah.
like really far? 10,000 steps, you know? So they try to do it based on us to get a better feel for it. But then you're right, they don't convert well. It's like weird how
Oh,
they
that's
how they fit
crazy.
into each other.
It will be interesting to see this kilogram if they do get a consistent measurement on it. They decide whatever it is, if that, or how much it changes things.
For us, it probably won't, but in the science board, it might. It-
Well, trickle-down effect.
So we'd still be using the same, basically, is what you're saying.
I don't think anything changes for us, right?
Oh, I was imagining our children
Trickle
coming home with
down,
this new...
it wouldn't be like a direct, we would understand it as, oh, this is all changed, but there would be a change for us in terms of how, like as Maxie says, medicine, like how much more accurate that would be for us, which could then impact our health and the effectiveness of things.
I think with every other improvement going on in those areas, I can't imagine we would know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it might change its trajectory of how quickly we improve, like so tiny that you wouldn't really. Do you know what I mean?
I get, yeah.
It will help in some ways, but I think it's like.
I'm always under the belief that the more accurate a measuring system is, no matter what measuring system it is, it will always have a significant impact.
Because it's not going to change that. So the precision is still the same. Like the accuracy of, say, if I was in a science lab, it's not going to change that. It's when I then give that to somebody else which changes, right?
Yeah, but that's
if everybody that year,
nothing can be implemented without that.
Yeah, if everybody that year is like on the same kilo, then I guess it doesn't make. Actually, no. You probably have there's a good point. I don't know. It's because the idea is if it is like this, you'll be able to go into a lab yourself and pick out. Say if they use like there's like a mole, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 32 number of atoms or something, and that's a fixed size amount of substance. And you can use that and say how much does this weigh in carbon, for instance, and it's always going to weigh the same regardless. So that means in a lab, if you can somehow measure that amount of atoms, you can say this is exactly a kilogram, for instance. And that means then that you don't have to worry about the Chinese whispers effect of trying to figure out what the kilogram in Paris weighs. You can do it in your lab and get it exactly right every single time. Yeah, so I guess there's a lot of benefits to that. There's a lot.
Wait, so you said there's 150 years scientists been
wanting to change it.
What was the how much has it been fluctuating, the mass? Like, is it that 1 kilo?
They keep it in a low oxidize, and because of things like oxidation, when something interacts with oxygen in the air, that can change,
like corrode or something. The actual
corrosion. I'm not sure what with the material they've used for it exactly.
It's I just read it. It's whatever it is. It's like they're unstable atoms, so they could technically radiate and stuff as well, which is why they have to keep it in such as stable conditions as possible. So as soon as it radiates and you lose like the electron or whatever they.
So how long has that been there? That one original kilo. Do we know?
I think it's a few hundred years. I'm not sure though.
From what I remember, Maxie, you may know this. Do they not have? Because they have the one in Paris, but then they have other ones around the world that are supposed to be as close to as accurate as the one in Paris. That they measure off of the one in Paris, right?
Every country has their own version, and they go to Paris and check it against it every year, and then they go back and. So that one in Paris only comes out once a year, and they check every one against it, and then it gets put back away in its box.
Then the others are then used as the metric.
What is it? The Groundhog in America to see if you get 6 more weeks of winter, and it comes out once a year. Do you know?
I need to watch that show again.
Wow.
What do you mean? So what happens if the groundhog? What does it have to do to
shadow?
To
if
tell
you
you?
his shadow or whatever? Isn't that what
if
the groundhog?
If the groundhog gets scared and runs back to the hole, I think you get another 6 weeks. If it stays out, you don't.
Is that real? Like, is
he's never been right.
Hang on, is the Groundhog Day in America something that they do?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's actually
massive.
real or just a movie.
No, it's real.
Oh,
it's massive.
No, the Groundhog thing that Dev's talking
It's
about, but that's got nothing to do with the film Groundhog Day.
no, I know that, but like they actually have the Groundhog Day. Oh, so they don't use a groundhog and decide if winter's going to come.
What Dev's talking about is like a colloquial thing where they use groundhogs to determine how long. I can't remember what was it, Dev? Like winter or something.
Yeah.
But Groundhog Day is the only similarity is the fact that the word groundhog is used. Like there's nothing else.
Oh, so what
to
is
do
it
with
for
each other.
then?
What, Groundhog Day?
Yeah. Do you know what do they?
Groundhog Day is not a real thing. It's
That's
the
what I just
concept
said.
that you live the same day over and over again.
No, I know the movie, but I mean the day in America that they celebrate. What are they celebrating?
I don't know what you're talking. I don't. Do they have a Groundhog Day they celebrate?
You just said that yes, they do. Didn't you?
No,
say
I'm
that?
saying what Dev's saying, but it's not like a day that they celebrate. It's just like an
I'll
indication.
be laughing if it is.
Okay, my question, sorry, to you was: is that day something that actually happens, like a Groundhog Day?
Does it actually happen?
That's what I was asking. Oh my god. Okay.
The most
So,
ignorant podcast career ever.
Like it's
What
not
is
like a
Groundhog
day.
Day?
Like it's not like Thanksgiving or something.
yeah, like is
It's
there a
not like, it's
Groundhog
not like
Day
a
in America?
celebration.
But is there a Groundhog Day?
I think Ernest is looking.
I don't know how many. It's not a day. It's
So
The why is it called Groundhog Day if it's not a day?
it's not. That's what I'm saying. There's a film.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
Groundhog
so
Day.
that,
There
the
isn't.
answer is
If it's
no.
not a day.
Then there's no Groundhog Day in America every
Ready?
year.
2nd of
Isn't
February,
that-
when the
2nd of-
groundhog is
yeah,
said to
2nd
come
of
out of its
February.
hole at the end of hibernation.
Well, there you go. Yes, thanks, Max. I don't know.
It's
So,
But it's not like
Alexander,
a.
there's
It's
a
not.
day called
It's
Groundhog
not
Day.
like a. It's
and it's
not like
actually a
a.
day.
yeah, it's
Like,
a
You
Groundhog.
can't go
example,
into
For
you can't go to a
132
card shop and
times.
buy a card of it.
I lived in America for 5 years, and no point did anyone say it's Groundhog Day. Like it's not like a day.
What part of America
Maybe it's
did
a
you live
white
in?
man thing.
Like it's just like a thing. It's not a. Does that make sense? I don't know how. to
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
it.
It's kind
Not
of like
celebration.
how it's the.
It's not like Christmas. It's not a day.
It's like Labor Day or
Yeah.
the Queen's birthday or.
Groundhog Day.
It's not a day.
It's
But
kind
it
of like how
actually
there's-
is. It's
there's
February the
a
2nd.
International
So,
Girlfriend Day or something like that.
My
Like, it's like
challenge
one of
to
those.
you on Feb 2 is to say Happy Groundhog Day everyone.
We release this on Feb 2.
The Groundhog Day debate.
Or no, what you do on February 2nd, we just release an old episode.
Ah.
Yes.
And we just keep doing it
Clever.
over and over again.
When?
Have we? Wait. What topic were we talking about?
I have no idea.
The mass.
Oh yeah,
Day.
yeah, yeah.
Mass.
The kilogram.
Oh yeah, we've annihilated time again. Like we're doing terrible today.
I think some
right.
places in America actually do stuff, but there's certain
Yeah.
towns that
I
actually.
think it's parts of America actually celebrate it,
Yeah.
and then some parts don't.
Yeah. It's not a public holiday.
What do? Do you make cakes?
No, they have actual groundhogs. And they have.
like groundhogs.
No groundhogs. No groundhogs.
They eat groundhogs.
Jon Snow comes
groundhogs
out
eat
and says,
groundhogs.
"Winter's coming."
I didn't mean to say groundhogs, sorry. I meant groundhogs. They have actual groundhogs and they actually have a weatherman predicting the weather.
That
No,
would be
the
a sad
groundhog.
job to have that
The
day.
groundhog predicts.
Isn't that just
telling
his,
you.
isn't that just his job?
Okay.
Yeah, the
we-
weatherman does that every day.
No, look.
And
In
they have
this
a
one
weatherman
town called
predicting the weather.
Puxawatney. No, Puxatawny.
As we, CBS, as we wait for the groundhog to predict, we'll be having an extended winter.
In Puxatawny, visitors meet at Gobbler's Knob to.
This is not a real article.
Are you
When it's
sure?
called Gobbler's Knob, it's a joke.
To await Phil's appearance and his weather prediction.
It sounds like a
Emma,
bad
someone's
porno.
having you on. The internet's having you on.
But Phil,
What's the name of the
but Phil's the
website?
groundhog.
This is called timeanddate.com. Holidays, US, Groundhog Day.
The internet is having you on. It's like your drop
It's
airs.
not. Oh, yeah.
Gobbler's knob.
Like,
Look at that Gobbler's Knob.
implore you to research this and see if you find the same.
That's the name of the podcast this week. Gobbler's knob. Recycle words.
That's a wrap, guys. If you enjoyed today's podcast, then please subscribe and leave a comment on YouTube. You can catch us on Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. Bye until next week.